السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته. الحمد لله رب العالمين، وأفضل الصلاة وأتم التسليم على المبعوث رحمة للعالمين محمد صلى الله عليه وعلى آله وصحبه الغر الميامين الذين جاهدوا في الله حق جهاده فأتم الله عليهم النعمة وأمدهم بالنصر المبين. ربنا لا تزغ قلوبنا بعد إذ هديتنا وهب لنا من لدنك رحمة إنك أنت الوهاب. وبعد. I still continue talking about Amir al-Mu'mineen, the third Khalifa, Uthman bin Affan radiyallahu anhu wa ardah. So last week I spoke about akhlaq, the manners of Uthman bin Affan radiyallahu anhu, and we've seen how great is this Khalifa radiyallahu anhu. And tonight I'd like to talk about a very important issue in the life of Uthman radiyallahu anhu, which is the financial topic. Why? Because this topic is one of the issues that will find many of those who are against Islam at the beginning, against Sahaba ridwanullahi alayhim, they try to make an issue from it and fabricating a lot of stories and misinterpreting a lot of stories about Amir al-Mu'mineen Uthman bin Affan radiyallahu anhu. So at the beginning, I will explain how he managed to organize the Islamic Khilafah at that time and how he put everything in its place and how he established a system. Because at that time, after Uthman radiyallahu anhu became Khalifa, there was more money, more income, more resources, and obviously more expenses. And this needs a system, because if there is no system, then it will be a chaos, then you'll find a lot of corruption, and the whole country or the whole empire, I can see, at that time will be affected. Uthman radiallahu anhu came to the Khilafah after Umar radiallahu anhu. Umar was the first one who started to establish the system. So he made what they call it a dawawi, which means that now everything is registered. So every member of the citizens in this Islamic country now, they are registered. All those who are fighting in the different fronts are registered. And even the newborn babies, they are registered. So because every one of these, they will have their income according to their position in the Muslim community. So Uthman radiallahu anhu came after Umar. Umar, he was the first one who established this. And Uthman, he declared this at the beginning of his Khilafah. So he sent a letter to the governors, a letter to those who are collecting what they call it al-kharaj. When you hear the word al-kharaj, means the tax that the farmers should pay on the land. When Muslims went to these new countries, Syria, Iraq, and Africa, they agreed with the people who are living in that area that they will continue farming, dealing with all the products and all of these things, but they have to pay a tax to the Islamic government. Why they have to pay the tax? Because these lands now became Muslim lands. So this land now belongs to the whole Muslim Ummah. And these people now allowed to work in these lands because it's not their lands. And the Muslim Ummah will give them the support and give them the protection. So they are working in these farms. So if it is wheat, if it is vegetables, dates, all of these things. So when they collect the product, there is harvest season, they have to pay certain tax, and this certain tax called al-kharaj. And this became, in the time of Uthman, radiallahu anh, one of the important income to the in the Muslim or in the Islamic financial system. So Uthman radiallahu anh, he sent letter to the governors, as I said, sent a letter to Ummal al-Kharaj, and he advised them that when you deal with these, with the people the farmers I mean, you have to be just. Don't charge them more than what you have to charge them, and obviously don't charge them less. And also obviously look at the income in that year. Yes, the tax on that land may be, say, £10,000, but if in that year there was no rain, so there is no crops, are we going to charge them £10,000 now? No, because the tax related to the product. If there is good fruits, vegetables, wheat, all these things, yes, you charge them. But if there is nothing, how you can charge the people for something they don't have? And also he wrote to those people who are collecting the zakat. So all the people who are in charge of financial in the financial system, Uthman radiallahu anh wrote to them and explained to them what they have to do. So there was general financial system, and those who are collecting the money, they have to be honest, not charge the people more than anything. And on the other hand, they have to collect this money from those who has to pay it. And for the Muslims, he has to give them what's their right. Because Umar radiallahu anh, he established the system that every single Muslim, he has benefit. And if you remember, I mentioned this to you before, the first one who established the benefit system was Umar radiallahu anh. You are citizen, so you'll have benefit. You have a new baby born, they will give him money. Straight on. And this shows us how great is our dear brothers and sisters. And also Uthman radiallahu anh, one of the general rules, that doesn't matter who is the person who's collecting or from where he's collecting, they have to follow the same instructions and the same rules. So, and the same when he is giving, the same thing. So this is what Uthman radiallahu anh applied. So, where are the resources? The resources at the time of Uthman were the following. The first one is al-ghanaim, the booties. What's the booties? When Muslims, they fight another country or another people, and when these people will be defeated, generally they leave behind them a lot of things. They will leave money, they leave properties, they leave sheep, cattle, different things. So they will collect all of these, and there's a rule here. 1/5 of this will go to Bayt Mal al-Muslimin. I'd like you to remember this word. Bayt Mal al-Muslimin. What Bayt Mal al-Muslimin in this word the new word now, the treasury. So this is Bayt Mal Muslim. As Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said, وَاعْلَمُوا أَنَّمَا غَنِمْتُمْ مِنْ شَيْءٍ فَأَنَّ لِلَّهِ خُمُسَهُ وَلِلرَّسُولِ وَلِذِي الْقُرْبَى وَالْيَتَامَى وَالْمَسَاكِينِ وَابْنِ السَّبِيلِ إِن كُنتُمْ آمَنْتُمْ بِاللَّهِ وَمَا أَنزَلْنَا عَلَى عَبْدِنَا يَوْمَ الْفُرْقَانِ يَوْمَ الْتَقَى الْجَمْعَانِ وَاللَّهُ عَلَى كُلِّ شَيْءٍ قَدِيرٌ. So 20% of this will go to whom? Our brothers? Bayt Mal Muslim. Okay? So, and then the ruler has the right to give from that, according to the Kitab and the Sunnah. What's left will be divided on the soldiers. And again, for the soldiers, there is a system. Because the soldiers, they are fighting on foot? They have no horses or anything. Or there is people, they have their horses, and others their camels. And there is fighters and supporters. So there is a system for that. Now there is certain share to those who are fighting, certain share to those who are fighting on horses, those for fighting on camels, and so on. So this is the first source. The second source is what's left from the zakah. Not the zakah, the whole zakah. What's left from the zakah? For example, at that time Egypt was under the Islamic ruling. And it keeps so until now. So, the ruler of Egypt will send his employees, let us say like this, Ummal al-Zakah, to all the areas in Egypt, and they will collect it. So say they brought 1 million pounds. Then there is a system for those who are entitled to the zakah. Because this is what the Nabi sallallahu alayhi wa sallam said. When he sent Mu'adh to Yemen, he said to him that there is, after you call them to Shahadat La ilaha illallah, if they accept that, say to them you have to pray the 5 daily prayers. If they accept that, tell them that there is zakah will be collected from the rich and will be given to the poor people. So this is the system. So, say Amr ibn al-As, at that time, he is the one, or Abdullah ibn Abi Sarh, who was in Egypt, he will collect the money, 1 million pounds. Then he will, according to the system, see who are entitled. الفقراء, المساكين, العاملين عليها, and the other people. Say for example, they gave from that 800,000. How much left? 200,000. Now what's left, they will send it to Bayt al-Mal. What's left will be sent to Bayt al-Mal. So this is the second income. The third income, as I mentioned earlier, al-Kharaj, which is the tax on the land and the products for those in the areas that being opened by Muslims. And the fourth one was al-Jizya. What's al-Jizya? Al-Jizya is the tax that non-Muslims paid as citizens in the Muslim country for the Muslim government or the Islamic government will give them the protection. So you'll find at that time there is Christians and there is Jews who, especially in Syria for example, there's many people, they are Christians and they don't want to leave their religion. Islam has a valid rule here. لا إكراه في الدين. No compulsion in religion. So these people, they said, we'd like to carry on as Christians. So Islam said, okay, you have to do your duties as citizens. And because as Islamic government, we are giving you the protection, you have to pay what? Jizya. But even this jizya has rules that it continue until a certain age. Because Umar Khattab radiallahu anh, he saw a man, an old man, and he was a Christian or a Jew, and he's begging in the street. He said, why you are begging? He said, because I have to pay the jizya. He said, no, we cannot take the jizya from you while you are young. Then when you are old and unable to work, then we leave you. No, actually we'll give you money to help you. This shows us, again, brothers and sisters, how great is this religion of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So these are the resources for the Islamic or to Bait al-Mal. Uthman radiallahu anh, when all this money comes, he will use it in different ways. So one of the ways, he will give directly to the people, as I mentioned earlier. Another way, that he will do services, like making roads, making houses, making places for different things from all this income. And when Uthman radiallahu anh used to give from Bait Mal al-Muslimin, remember this, he will used to give equally. He will not give A 100 pounds and B 50 pounds. No. You will have 100 pounds, maybe another one 200 pounds, but there is a reason. The reason is that the one who takes 100 pounds, maybe his husband and wife, but the other family, there is husband and wife and children, then he will give them accordingly. So there is a system for all of these at that time. As I mentioned, Uthman ibn Affan radiallahu anh, when they take the money from those, what they call them, Ahl al-Dhimma, Christians and Jews, again, it was according to the Islamic rules. No injustice at all the time apply justice. And one of the important things that you'll find Uthman applied radiallahu anh, when it comes to the orphans, he will give them their full rights and look after them. And when the parents or one of the parents died, mainly the father, they will have their right in the zakat, and they can have their right even from al-ghanaim and the general income of the Muslim Ummah. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, He mentioned that al-aytam, they have their share in the khums, the 20% I mentioned earlier. As Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said, وَاعْلَمُوا أَنَّمَا غَنِمْتُم مِّن شَيْءٍ فَإِنَّ لِلَّهِ خُمُسَهُ وَلِلرَّسُولِ وَلِذِي الْقُرْبَى وَالْيَتَامَى وَالْمَسَاكِينِ وَابْنِ السَّبِيلِ. So know that the booty you have, so Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, He will have 1/5, which is 20%, and also Rasul sallallahu alaihi wasallam, Dil Qurba and Dil Masakeen, they will have their share from that. Wabn Sabil, the poor people, I mean. Al Yatama, the orphans. Ibn Sabil, those people that they find themselves in another country or another town and they have no access to their money, or they lost their money. They cannot go back. So all of these, we can see them, they have their rights. Allah, Rasul, Dhul Qurba, Al-Yatama, Al-Masakin, Ibn Sabil. These are, all of these, they have their right in this 20 person. Now we find in the time of Uthman radiallahu anhu, brothers and sisters, that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala blessed this ummah with a lot of income, a lot of money. And when Uthman radiallahu anhu noticed that, he started to advise the Muslim ummah. And he said in a very beautiful statement, إن أمر الأمة صائر إلى الابتداع بعد أن توفرت لهم ثلاث، وهي تكامل النعم وبلوغ أولاد السبايا وقراءة الأعاجم. So he said, when the Ummah reached a status that أبناء السبايا, the children of those ladies that they got them, married them after the wars. So some of them Romans, some of them Persians, some of them Egyptians. So they are not from the original Arabs at that time. And obviously, you will find the children will be affected by their moms. The tongue, this is what they say, the mother tongue, the language in itself, the behavior, many things. Yes, alhamdulillah rabbil alameen, many of these ladies became Muslims and good Muslims, excellent Muslims. But there is others. So Uthman radiallahu anh, he mentioned when these children become in puberty age and now they are starting to be adults and they have their say in the life in itself, this will have an impact on the Muslim Ummah. And he mentioned takamul al-ni'am, which means that when the people they have now, mashallah, they have a lot of money, a lot of income, and they started building big houses, having big farms and all of these things, which they didn't have before. And when you compare between the time of Umar radiallahu anhu and the time of Abu Bakr, time of the Prophet alayhi salatu wasalam, and the time of Uthman, you find big difference. All of us we know, in the time of Prophet Muhammad alayhi salatu wasalam, the Sahaba used to starve. Yes, used to starve. Sometimes, in Nabi sallallahu alayhi wasallam, in Hadith Aisha radiallahu anha, that there were times, months, that there is no fire in the house of Prophet Muhammad alayhi salatu wasalam. Means that there is no cooking. There is nothing to cook. There is no, and mainly at that time the meat. So there is no meat to cook. And she mentioned in the hadith that we used to be for a long time al-aswadan, tamr wal ma. They live on dates and water. Subhanallah. And the time of Abu Bakr it was, because the 2 years were also struggling. In the time of Umar, a little bit, but Umar was very strict on this. In Uthman, now there is more, because when we'll talk inshallah about the Futuhat, the new areas, that we can understand why there was a lot of money, a lot of wealth at that time. So he mentioned, Uthman radiallahu anh, when the people will be better off and they have a lot of money, obviously this will affect them. Compare, any one of us, compare between a person who was just a simple working maybe 6 hours, 7 hours, even 8 hours, and the person has a big business, and to make this business keeps running and has profit, he finds himself he has to work 18 hours. So obviously the one who works 8 hours, he can perform the salawat, have time to read the Quran, has time to come to the masjid, has come to visit people and all of these things. But the person who is working 18 hours, do you think he can do the same? Huh? What do you think? Obviously no. So this is what he mentioned, Uthman radiallahu anhu, takamul al-ni'am. So when the people, they became so busy with the money, because if they have now a big farm, oh, he has to deal with the workers, the farmers, collecting, delivering, and selling, and there is a lot of things involved. So he said takamul al-ni'am bilugha awlad as-sabai, which as I mentioned about the children from non-Arab women, and qira'at al-a'ajim. Qira'at al-a'ajim means when the non-Arabs start to read the Quran in their accent. And this is one of the reasons which made Uthman radiallahu anh collect all the musahaf at that time and make the whole ummah read from one musahaf. Now we see this here. So you'll find if someone, he was taught the Quran from Asian brother or sister in the old style, he will say most of the letters wrong. The tha will become sa, the tha will become za, the sad becomes saw, the da will become dwa, the ta becomes ta, and the ayn becomes a, and the qaf becomes ka, and so on. And even some of them, if you try to correct them, they say, no, you don't know. We learn this. This is our mashayikh teaching us this. But when you will find the person learned through an Arab, and this doesn't mean that we are talking about here now racism. I'm talking about the pronunciation, which is obviously the person who's originally Arab and he taught by Arabs and all of these things and pronounced the letters in a proper way, the reading will be different. Now, in the time of Uthman radiallahu anh, there was a problem, because now the Persians start to read Arabic, and there is similarity between Arabic and Persian, and this is why the Urdu affected by the Persian language. And now these who are in Egypt, they are talking another language. Those who are in Syria, they are talking another language. So all of these, now these people, because many of them became Muslims, they like to read the Quran, and when they learn it, in one way or another, their tongue will be affected when they read the Quran. So he said, when all of these things become together on Muslims, this means that there is a danger and we have to fix this problem. And he mentioned the ayah in Surah Al-Isra, وَإِذَا أَرَدْنَا أَن نُهْلِكَ قَرْيَةً أَمَرْنَا مُتْرَفِيهَا فَفَسَدُوا فِيهَا فَفَسَقُوا فِيهَا فَحَقَّ عَلَيْهَا الْقَوْلُ فَدَمَّرْنَاهَا تَدْمِيرًا. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said, when we'd like to destroy an ummah, then, so he mentioned qarya, which means village or town or city, then the wealthy people will have the full authority and run everything, and after that they will spread corruption, and because of this they will be punished, and Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said, فَدَمَّرْنَاهَا تَدْمِيرًا, will destroy it totally. So Uthman radiallahu anh was advising people to be aware from that. Uthman radiallahu anh established also the zakah system, which we'll find it now in some Muslim countries, they are applying it, which is the annual zakah. Obviously we know that the person, or any Muslim, he has to pay the zakah annually. But we'll find the people, they pay it in different times. Uthman, he declared a resolution saying, I'd like all the people to pay the zakah on one time. In this way, we'll know how it works. And he gave them the advice. He said to them, go and collect the zakah in this certain month. This certain month, there is two opinions about it. One opinion, it was Muharram, the first month of the year, and the other opinion that it was Ramadan. So either this or this means that Uthman radiallahu anh like all the people to pay their zakah in one period of time. So this will make it easy. And subhanAllah, we'll find now that the governments, when they like to collect the tax, they say that the tax year from April to March. Yeah? Even the 6th of April to the 5th of April. So even give you these five days. And he established something else, Uthman radiallahu anhu. You know, now, in most of these countries, they will talk about self-assessment. So they will say to you, okay, tell us how much your income and all this. Obviously, there is difference between the tax and the zakat. There is a big difference. And the benefit is different. Anyway, Uthman radiallahu anh, he was the first one who established self-assessment. How? He said to those who collect the zakat, go and ask the people to give you the zakah of the things which are obvious. Means, if they have sheep, count them and say, okay, we know in every 40 there is one. Cows, camels, all of these things. If there is something to do with crops and all of these things, also there is a system. But the things which is not obvious, you cannot see it, which at that time was, what do you think? They cannot see it.
Money.
Money. But what was the money at that time? Pounds? Gold and silver. So he said, for the things that it's hidden, let them declare it. Let them talk about it. And leave it to them. And here, we'll see that Uthman radiallahu anhu, as I said, established this, what we call it, self-assessment. And on the other hand, he's relying on the taqwa. Because the zakah in itself is all the time reflect how much taqwa you have. You'll find people, mashallah, alhamdulillah, may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala reward them. When it comes to the zakah, they try to give more. And there's people, they think in the tax mentality. And some of them, they're asking me, they say, oh, you know, I have this, shall I calculate this or that or this or this or that? So it is, yeah, they like to do it in a very specific way. Now Uthman radiallahu anhu, he said to all the people who is going to collect it, so what you see, take the zakah accordingly. The things that the people, they have money or these things, leave it to them. And one of the things that Uthman established, and you'll find now all the mashayikh, they are giving the fatwa accordingly, that you pay the zakah for the money that the people owe you, when you believe that they are going to give it to you. So, for example, if I come in Ramadan and I found there is 1,000 pounds in my account, and this money has been since last Ramadan, but during the year, my brother 1,000 pounds. And I know that he will pay it. And I'm not chasing him. Uthman, he mentioned these words. He said that you are not collecting it. Either you'd like to give him time, or you'd like him to enjoy the things because you know that he can pay it at any time. So it's your brother, and you don't want to push him hard. Okay? Say, mashallah, don't worry. But you know that he's going to pay it. If he's a good brother, always. Because some brothers, when they borrow from you, that's it. Finished. And the intention even, subhanAllah, maybe sometimes that, give me the 1,000 pounds and forget it. Don't ask about it. So, Uthman radiallahu anh, he said that if you give someone money and that person, you give him time, then you pay the zakat on that money. And he said, I'll just say the word, إن الصدقة تجب في الدين الذي لو شئت تقاضيته من صاحبه والذي هو ملء تدعه حياء أو مصانعة ففيه الصدقة. So he said that the zakat must be in the money that the people owes you when you know that that person is able to pay it back. But you leave it, either you are shy to ask him, or you just give him part of a good way. So this is one of the things that Uthman radiallahu anh did regarding the zakat. And Uthman ibn Affan radiallahu anh, also, he has ijtihad in another matter, that you can take from the zakat to supply another way of spending with the intention to give this money back to the zakat. For example, all of us, we know that zakah has these 8 branches: fuqara, al-masakin, al-amilin alayha, and so on. So it is mentioned in Surah At-Tawbah. But there is an area that I'd like to spend zakah, but we don't have money at that time. So Uthman, he said, there's no problem. So, for example, we'd like to build a masjid. There's a masjid, for example, at that time, need extension, or a masjid, something happened to it, and we'd like to rebuild it. We cannot take from the zakah money to build the masjid. So Uthman, he said, in this case, you say, okay, I'll take 5,000 pounds from the zakah money, build the masjid, and until the masjid will stand again and the people give sadaqah and all of these things, then we'll give it back. So he established, I can say, a financial theory that you can take from the zakah money to give to other ways of spending with the intention to give it back later. And again, this opinion of many scholars from the past and these days. Uthman radiallahu anh used to give from the zakah to feed the people in Ramadan. So he established this sunnah, which is, we'll have it, mashallah, all over the world now. That in Ramadan, he will ask the people to cook a lot of food, put it in the masjid, and ask the people to come and eat, especially those who stay in the masjid for i'tikaf, for the salah, for ibadah during that time. And where Uthman got this? He got it from the Prophet ﷺ. Because all of us, we know that the Nabi ﷺ كان أجود الناس وأجود ما يكون في رمضان. He used to be the most generous person, and he used to be over what you think of generosity in Ramadan So Uthman radiallahu anh understood from the action of the Prophet alayhi salatu wasalam that in Ramadan you give more and more. Uthman radiallahu anh also established what we can call them these days the care homes. So in some areas that and small hotels. So he said that if someone came to an area and he's new, he has no house, and or there is a person, no one to look after him, there is no place for him, then he established places for them and spend on it from zakat. And so he established many places in Kufa and other places. Uthman radiallahu anh also gave the slaves that he noticed that they don't have enough money themselves, so he gave them for a few months just to improve their situation. So to give you some of the examples in the time of Uthman radiallahu anh, غزا الوليد بن عقبة في مراتع الكوفة في عهد عثمان أذربيجان وصالح أهلها على 800,000 درهم. So to give you just an example of how much money it used to come. So الوليد بن عقبة, he went to Azerbaijan at that time, which is now part of these countries around Russia, and they agreed to pay 800,000 dirham at that time. When Uthman Abdullah ibn Sa'd, he went to Africa, also he brought what they say alf dinar, so it means 2 million dinar, 2 million and a half. At that time they brought it from Africa. When they went to Cyprus, they paid jizya 7,000 dinar every year. The people of Jarjan that used to pay 200,000 and sometimes 300,000. In Nisabur, they used to pay 60,000 dirham and so on. So this shows us, brothers and sisters, that there was a lot of money coming during the time of Uthman radiallahu anhu. Now I'd like to talk about one of the things that they talk about Uthman radiallahu anhu. Yes. Firstly, Uthman radiallahu anhu, as you know, and as we explained in when we spoke about different Sahaba and the type of Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, and when I mentioned about the life of Uthman at the beginning of these lessons, Uthman radiallahu anhu, he's a rich man. He's rich before Islam. And generally, Bani Umayyah in general, they are rich people. And they are big, also the big family. If you remember, Abu Bakr at the beginning, radiallahu anhu, he didn't take anything. Then they made like a salary for him. And Umar radiallahu anhu, very small salary. Uthman radiallahu anhu, because he is rich himself, he didn't take for himself as a salary anything at all. So during his life, he didn't take, you can say, any penny from Bayt Mal Muslimin as a salary. Actually, he used to give a lot. From Bayt al-Mal, he used to pay all the people who are working there. Because now, as I said, there is a system. There is governors, and these governors, there is assistants to them. And there is police. And there is people who are collecting the zakah, people who are collecting the kharaj, and all of these things. So all of these people has to be paid salaries from Bayt al-Mal. And also the soldiers used to have their salaries. Is Hajj. All the expenses of Hajj used to be paid from Bayt al-Mal. So when the people go to Hajj, they don't have to spend money. The food and the water and all of these things, Bayt al-Mal will pay. And the Kiswat al-Kaaba, which we see these days, also it used to be from Bayt Mal al-Muslimin. In the time of Uthman radiallahu anh, he noticed that the Masjid al-Nabawi is not enough for people. There is more people, and there is more people coming to Al-Madinah from the new areas. So Uthman radiallahu anh, he consulted the Sahaba radwanullah alayhim, what shall we do? And he suggested that we just knock down the masjid and build a new one bigger than. So this is what they did, and they bought a lot of area and houses which used to be around the masjid, and all of this was from Bayt Mal al-Muslimin. And the same they did to the Kaaba, because the Kaaba in the time of Prophet Muhammad ﷺ was very small, only the Kaaba that we see now, and maybe around it, maybe a few meters. Then in the time of Umar radiallahu anh, when there is more Muslims start to go to Hajj, he went and bought some of the houses. And it's narrated, some of the people at that time who were living around Al-Kaaba, they refused, and Umar, he forced them to buy it, because this is something now for the general public benefit. So for the benefit of all Muslim Ummah. So you cannot say, I have a house next to the masjid, I don't want to sell it because it's my house. Yes, we'll buy it from you, we'll give you enough money to go and buy another house. And this is now applied everywhere. When there is something, if there is a house and there is a street, the government will buy that house, because the street will benefit the whole people. Now in the time of Uthman radiallahu anh, he again bought many of the houses and he made an extension, and he started the lighting in the haram. So they start to put lights to help the people who are coming in different times, and he made a wall around al-Masjid al-Haram, and that wall was about 1 meter only. In the time of Uthman radiallahu anh, he established the first marine, we call it in Arabic اسطول, which is they started to build ships, and these they used them later in some of the wars against the enemies of Islam. And in the time of Uthman radiallahu anh, they changed the port from an area called Shu'aibah to Jeddah, which is now the people, all of them going down. So he established that area and made a lot of work in the sea coast in Jeddah to make it able to when the ships from the other places coming, then they can serve them and they can stay there, and all the facilities to help the people to do this. So Uthman ibn Affan, he was the one who established Jeddah, that all of us, when we go either by sea or by plane, we'll go there. Uthman radiallahu anhu also paid for digging wells for water, and one of them was a well called Urais, which is about 2 miles from Medina al-Rasul sallallahu alaihi wasallam. And subhanallah, when he was there, after they finished it, something happened to Uthman radiallahu anhu. So Uthman used to have the ring of the Prophet alayhi salatu wasalam, because the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam has a ring which has Muhammad Rasulullah, and he used to stamp the letters when he sent to other people, so to be official. So then Abu Bakr was using this, then Umar, then Uthman. So Uthman was sitting on that, on the top or the entrance of the well. So while he's sitting, subhanallah, the ring fall down in the well. And they tried their best to find it, and they brought the water, but they cannot find the ring after that. Then Uthman radiallahu anhu, he ordered to make a similar ring with the same words, Muhammad Rasulullah, and it was with him until he was killed. Uthman radiallahu anhu, he was the first one to give the mu'adhineen salary. Until that time, the mu'adhin, it was a volunteer job. You remember in the time of Prophet Muhammad alayhi salatu wasalam, we used to have two. Can you remember the names? Bilal and Ibn Abdullah ibn Umm. So they used to do this voluntarily. And the same in the time of Umar radiallahu anhu. Now Uthman radiallahu anhu, he decided to give these people now fixed salaries every month, because they are now not doing the adhan in itself. They are doing the adhan and care about the masjid. So they are dedicating their life to the masjid. And so Uthman radiallahu anhu was the first one to establish this system. And Uthman radiallahu anhu also used to spend on all the ways that he think that it will benefit the Muslim. Now, one of the things that you'll find the people they are talking about, when they talk about Uthman, they make a lot of false stories that Uthman used to give Bani Umayyah, particularly his relatives. And they are saying that Uthman used to see these people from Bani Umayyah, Bani al-As, so on, and give them from Bayt Mal al-Muslimin. We know now that Uthman used to give all the people. From where? Bayt al-Mal. But they notice that these people, Bani Umayyah, you'll have more. From there, they started to make these fabricated stories. So where is the reality? The reality that Uthman bin Affan radiallahu anhu, he was, as I mentioned earlier, a very rich man, and he was a person who would like to be kind to his relatives, which we call it Salat al-Rahm. And he expressed Salat al-Rahm by giving money. But from where? From Bayt al-Mal? No. From his own pocket. He is a rich man, mashallah. He has business, he has lands, he has this, all of these things. So he'd like to keep his family happy. And we have to remember another thing, which was in the Arab system. And it's still in many areas. What's the system? That all the time you need a tribe to support you, to help you when you need them, to stand with you if there is difficulty. So Uthman, he likes all these people, Bani Umayyah, to be his supporters all the time. So and he followed in one way what the Nabi Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam did. The Nabi Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam, after Ghazwat Hunayn, they collected, or the Taqif, when they ran away, they left thousands of camels and sheep and money and all of these things. And the Nabi Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam started to give whom? To give those new Muslims. But not everyone, the leaders. So he gave Abu Sufyan, for example. Because Abu Sufyan was a new Muslim. But Abu Sufyan, when he speaks, there is 200-300 people that are listening to him. Maybe 1,000 people listening to him. So Muhammad Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam, he doesn't mind that to give Abu Sufyan some extra from the camels and the sheep at that time. Then Abu Sufyan will be ready. So when Muhammad Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam said to him, Abu Sufyan, we'd like to do this, then 1,000 people respond to Abu Sufyan and say yes. And actually, this proved to be right. When you read about Ma'arak al-Yarmouk, the Battle of Yarmouk, you'll find Abu Sufyan there, supporting the people and encouraging them and do all of these things. Because he knows that when he says a word, there's many people still listening to him. Not he is now a scholar. No, he's not a scholar. But he has a respect among the people at that time. So this is what he said, Uthman radiallahu anhu. قالوا إنه يحب أهل بيتي وأعطيهم فأما حبي لهم فإنه لم يمل معهم إلى جور بل أحمل الحقوق عليهم وإما إعطاؤهم فإني إنما أعطيهم من مالي ولا أستحل أموال المسلمين لنفسي ولا لأحد من الناس. He said that they are saying that I like my big family and I'll give them. So I like them, I'm not hiding that, but this didn't make me oppress anyone else. Actually, I force my family to pay and do what they have to do. And when I give them from my own money, my own pocket. And I will never use the money of Muslims, which from Bayt al-Mal, to give anyone if he is not entitled to. And this is a very important thing to understand, brothers and sisters, that when Uthman radiallahu anhu used to give these people, he will give them from his pocket, not from Bayt al-Mal. And he said, I used to do this in the time of Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wasallam, in the time of Abu Bakr, of the time of Umar. And even at that time, I don't have this money, and even I don't want to give so much. But now, in this age, and I am the leader of the Ummah, I'd like to do more. And one of the stories that they are making about Uthman when he sent Abdullah ibn Sa'd ibn Abi Sarh to Tunisia, he said to him, if Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala bless you with the conquest of the North Africa, you are allowed to take the fifth of the fifth. You remember when you spoke about that al-ghanaim, 20% must go to Bayt al-Mal? He said to him, you can take 20% of that 20%. To encourage him to do this, because he understands how beneficial this will be to the Ummah. So, Abdullah ibn Sa'd ibn Abi Sarh, he managed to conquer all that area. When they have the booty, he sent for the one fifth minus the fifth of that. So when this money reached, some people start to talk about Allah ibn Sa'd ibn Abi Sarh. Then Uthman ibn Affan has a consulting meeting, and he said, what's the problem? They said, you don't have any right to do this. He said, okay, if you don't agree with what I did, then we'll have to give it back to Bayt al-Mal. So he ordered Abdullah ibn Abi Sarh to give back all this money. So what happened? When they started to give back the money, some of it was difficult to give it back to Bayt Mal Muslimin. So Marwan ibn al-Hakam, who was rich at that time, he bought some of these stuff and gave the money to Bayt Mal Muslimin. This is what happened. So what they started to say, they said, oh, Uthman, he sold the 1/5 in a small amount of money to Marwan ibn al-Hakam. The reality is that only one part of that, and it was difficult to give it back. Then Marwan ibn al-Hakam, he bought it, and it was a clear transaction. It wasn't something that he did it or he hid it. So this is one of the things that we'll find the Shia, particularly some of the Orientals who are writing about Uthman, they try to accuse Uthman that when he gave his family more than what they entitled, and he gave them from Bayt Mal Muslimin, and this is not true. So I hope this will clarify this issue, and now we understand how was the financial system works in the time of Uthman radiallahu anh. Inshallah, next week we'll talk about more about Uthman radiallahu anh and some of his ijtihad in the fiqh issues which is occurred at that time. أسأل الله سبحانه وتعالى أن ينفعني وإياكم بما علمنا وأن يعلمنا ما ينفعنا وآخر دعوانا الحمد لله رب العالمين.